Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got another brand new update, and Donald Trump has reached an absolute climax, figuratively. Okay, Donald Trump down by point 0.2 in terms of the overall popular vote numbers. Look at this lead for Kamala Harris. You can see it down here. Look at all of this blue. It's collapsed. It's completely collapsed. Harris was up by 2, and even if she was up by 2 on election night, in terms of the popular vote, I'd still feel confident about Trump, but it's not that. Now we're seeing Trump basically tie Harris in terms of the overall popular vote. This is what everyone is talking about. We got the Wall Street Journal last night. It was a Trump +3. You get CNBC this morning, Trump +2. You've got Forbes, Harris, X. These are not Republican pollsters. Trump sitting +2. Rasmussen, you can argue, is more Republican, but they underestimated Trump in 2020. The Compost with the Harris +4 to try and prompt her up. You've got the TIPP, which has been terrible the past. I mean, why are they including a tracking poll into this? It's if TIPP, they're going to release another poll tomorrow, I would imagine. It could be, for all we know, Trump +1, and then Trump would be ahead in this, by the way, if the TIPP updated tomorrow with a Trump +1. Reuters, but you've got all of these. Harvard Harris is going to probably be releasing a new poll. Fox News will as well. Maybe Atlas Intel will release one final poll, but they've been very consistent with their Trump +3. USA Today, Harris +1. Emerson, Harris +1. They've got all the states very, very close. But the big thing we're tracking right now, Real Clear Politics average, it's unheard of. I mean, look at this day in 2020. The last 2 Trump election cycles, Biden was up by 8. And Hillary was up by 5.5, and now it's basically tied. And you have the last 4 polls. It's not even a +1, +3, +2, +2, +3. So these leads are looking very, very nice for Donald Trump when you look at some of these recent polls. And again, you do not have to win the popular vote. Trump can lose the popular vote by 1 point and still very easily probably have a 95% chance to win the election. He can lose it by 2 points and probably still win. 3 points, it becomes debatable because there are other shifts happening within states. I'm not going to get into that, but the point is, if it's like this on election night, if this is right, Harris +0.2. Remember, the polls have underestimated Trump severely the last 2 election cycles. The liberal cope is, well, now they're overcorrecting and overestimating Trump we've got no factual basis of that. You've got Gallup and their very accurate party ID admitting Republicans are sitting +2, +3 in terms of the overall ID for this election. They're basically saying Republicans are going to win the popular vote by around 2 to 3. Couple that with Atlas Intel, the most accurate pollster of 2020 and 2022, saying Trump is up by around 3. Their last 3 polls over the past 3 months, they've said Trump is up by 3. The attacks are crazy against Trump right now. They are throwing the kitchen sink and more at him. It's not working. And you have the terrible Kamala Harris town hall last night. It's probably not going to affect anything, but you look at these numbers, and this really is an absolute high for Donald Trump as we know it. And it is pretty remarkable. This is the TIPP daily tracking poll. This is what I was talking about. So look at their last 5 polls. They do this every single day. Trump +2, Trump +1, tie, Harris +2, Harris +3. There'll be a correction on this tomorrow, but the daily tracking, you can't do that. You have to take an average. When you daily track a poll, you're going to get different erroneous results. That's a 5-day window. The poll has shifted by 5 points this late in the cycle. It's not good polling. So I would say that they'll do it again tomorrow, and I would be shocked if it was a Harris +4 or a +3. It's probably going to come back down, and that's when Trump is probably going to take the lead in terms of the Real Clear Politics overall average in terms of that. You have the current Pennsylvania Democrat mail-in lead is down to around 366,000 in 2020. It was 1.1 million. That is a decrease. My goodness, man. We knew Republicans were going to turn out in terms of the early vote, but this is more than we expected. I mean, these are really, really crazy numbers. Final polls from Marist. They've been terrible this cycle, but even they have to admit and say North Carolina, Trump leads by 2, and Arizona, Trump's up by 1. They call Georgia a tie. That's total crap. Trump is up in all the polls in Georgia. Marist oversamples liberals. Remember their poll that they had Harris +5. They oversampled Democrats by 7. But even they say Trump is winning North Carolina and Arizona. Right now, Trump's got like an 80% chance to win Arizona, according to experts. Georgia, it's at like 78. North Carolina, it's at like 75. And you win these 3 states, you only need 1 more after that. So these are really good numbers in terms of those 3 states. We'll take that, especially considering the way Marist has pulled this cycle. You've also got this: the entire world will be shocked by the next round of Virginia poll results. Wow. we could be getting polls in Virginia that Trump leads in Virginia. Really, this is the type of stuff we're talking about. You know what? I wonder if Virginia has moved at all. Virginia is sitting at an 84 to 18 right now, so it is over 100%. But yeah, Trump's got around an 18% chance. I wonder if this will move based off of the rumors that maybe there is some really positive polling. I'll tell you this much: if there's a poll that's solid that comes out that Trump's up by 1 or 2 in Virginia, this will move significantly. This will move down to like Harris, maybe like a 70% chance to win Virginia. Maybe we get 2 or 3 polls. It's going to move down even further to maybe a toss-up. You could get Virginia on election night being like a 60-40 Dem lean if we get some more positive polls out of Virginia. Trump did go down to like 60%. Now he's back up to 62. It ebbs and flows. People react to it. It's like I tell people, calm down. When it comes to poly market, it's going to ebb and flow. There will be people betting on Harris. They think she's good value right now. That's fine. It's going to happen. But overall, Trump is still the overwhelming favorite in a lot of these states. In Georgia, in North Carolina, Arizona, Trump at 71. Nevada, Trump now up at 63. Michigan and Wisconsin have kind of hovered. They've kind of gone back down a little bit, but Trump's still the slight favorite there. And then Pennsylvania, Trump at 57. So the Rust Belt's kind of gone back down slightly, but it's still a very slight Trump lead in terms of those states. But overall, man, I mean, you take a look at these national numbers right now. Trump is on the verge of flipping, and it's just more of a ceremonial thing, like whether Harris is up by 0.2 or Trump's up by 0.2. It's not that it matters too much, but it's just a funny thing to see Trump flip this based off of how much he lost in terms of pretty much every poll in 2020, all the polls in 2016, compared to where we are now in 2024. They bring Harris in, the fake charade. Her approval rating goes up by 15 points. She doesn't even do anything. And now people are seeing through it, and her approval rating is decreasing. And now Gallup, the most respected pollster, they're saying Trump's actually more favorable and more liked than Harris. Harris is very unlikable. Now Vance is more liked than Walz because people think Walz is just, he's the weirdo now, Walz. And Vance just comes off so professional. And it's like, well, if something happened to Trump, who would you trust? If something happened to the president, whether it's Trump or Harris, Walz. I mean, I think Walz was such a catastrophically bad pick for them. I know it's just a VP, but it's just like, there's no way that dude could lead the country. That's ridiculous. And you're picking him over a guy like Josh Shapiro. People are saying maybe Shapiro didn't want to do it. I don't know, but that's just a crazy pick. And there's also other things, the Israel-Palestine conflict involved with that. I don't know to what degree, but that's just the speculation. But right now, I will say Donald Trump is in an amazing spot. And we saw really, you could say, well, Trump was leading Harris when Biden withdrew, but this was before Harris really started campaigning and finding her footing. When she found her footing, she went up by like 1.8, 1.9, and she maintained it. And now it's been completely cut to where it looks like Trump's on the verge of flipping it at this point, which is pretty remarkable. And it's all of these polls. I mean, you had CNBC, you had CBS, or I guess CBS still has a Harris +3, but like NBC, all these different pollsters, they originally had, and I think some of these are not even in the aggregate. Yeah, Yahoo's probably going to release a new poll, I would guess. Pew Research might release a new poll. See, they put Data for Progress. That's not a good pollster. New York Times, is the New York Times poll in here? I'm guessing New York Times will probably release a final poll as well. There is an Emerson poll in here, I believe. Yeah, Emerson still has Harris +1. They've had Harris +1 for a while now. CNN has not polled in a while. I don't know what that's about, but they just haven't polled recently. But New York Post also has not polled in a while. They had a Harris +4, but either way, again, these numbers look amazing. You're looking at even the Senate races, like the Ohio Senate race is a clear Moreno lean. Even the Pennsylvania Senate race is getting very, very close. Like, look at this. We're seeing McCormick make up significant ground on Casey. It was around a 6-point lead back. You go back to the summer, solid 6-point lead. Even when Trump was doing doing significantly better than Biden, we weren't seeing the same correlation with the Senate. Well, now we are. We're seeing a lot of closer polls. We're seeing McCormick lead a poll. We've got another tie. And even some of these, Emerson, Casey +1, Franklin and Marshall, Casey +1. You're talking about picking off a Rust Belt state, like a Senate seat there, maybe 2, maybe sweeping it if you are Republicans, but I'll take 1 or 2 to get up to 54, 55 seats as long as you win Ohio, Montana, obviously Texas, Florida, that's expected. Nebraska with the fake independent there, got to win that. But I think the Senate's looking amazing. I think it's like 84-16 maybe in terms of 84% chance Republicans keep the Senate, but it's going to be even like in terms of the seats. I think it's going to be 54-55, and they have to run it up in the Senate because 2026, the midterms, it's not a great year for Republicans. They need to run it up. Hopefully, see, the thing is, the popular vote numbers are going to help in both the Senate and the House. They might actually help more in the House just because of the way the races, the amount of races there are. But it's also going to have a correlation to the Senate. I mean, if Trump wins Pennsylvania by 3.5, you would think McCormick, he's probably going to win because, he might only win by 1. He's going to underperform Trump. But if there's that wiggle room, like if Trump only wins Pennsylvania by 0.7, McCormick's probably going to lose Pennsylvania. But if he wins by 2.5 to 3, like we've seen in some of the recent polls, it's going to help McCormick and the down ballot in a lot of these states. If Trump can get like a 4 or 5 point lead, depending, like a 4-point lead or a 4-point win in Arizona, you're talking about maybe Kari Lake is able to eke one out. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.